Ever since Tower of Fantasy was announced, people have been comparing it to Genshin Impact. And I get it. There are some visual aesthetic similarities between the two games, but that's about where it ends. Now, I have been playing this game for the last 48 hours over on Twitch. I've been streaming the entire thing, and I'd urge you to come on over and take a look at the game in real time. This will give you a glimpse, this will give you a gauge of whether or not you should be excited for the game without me telling you, without other people telling you whether you should be or not. But after having played it for over 10 hours straight now, I can tell you with 100% certainty, this game is absolutely nothing like Genshin Impact. Quick shout out to our patrons over on Patreon. This allows you to directly support us if you're interested. Every patron will have their name appear at the beginning of every single YouTube video, and you'll be immortalized in the MMO genre forever. Yet with that knowledge, there are still a surplus of different people that continue to compare these two games. They continue to make this claim that Tower of Fantasy is going to be the Genshin Impact killer, or that Genshin Impact is going to inhibit the success of Tower of Fantasy. Yet there is no plausible way that this could realistically compete with Genshin. It is an entirely different type of game. Now, before I get into why or how this game is different, I do want to note that I will have a dedicated review of Tower of Fantasy up this week, because we are going to be playing this. We're going to be streaming it every day to get as far as we possibly can through it. Now, first and foremost, the aesthetic similarities. Yes, this game looks and kind of feels like Genshin Impact. They both have a gorgeous, crisp anime aesthetic. They have similar looking character models. They have similar looking, similar feeling combat styles. Although, on the topic of combat, after having put hundreds of hours into Genshin and tens of hours into Tower of Fantasy thus far, I can confirm Genshin's combat feels smoother, but Tower of Fantasy's combat feels faster, it feels more impactful, it feels like there's more to actively do. Now, as an example here, in Genshin Impact, essentially all you do is you hold your, this is with regards to the PC version, but you typically hold your left mouse button, you cycle through an ability, and then you build up enough energy to click Q. That's it. Then you swap your character and rinse and repeat. You possess the ability to dodge, you possess the ability to CC to a degree, you can combo different elements together. But in Tower of Fantasy, combat just moves faster. There's so much more to it. You can knock your enemies up into the air. You can literally remain airborne for minutes at a time, cycling through your abilities, cycling through your different weapon types. You have significantly more in terms of CC. Honestly, Tower of Fantasy has a lot more intricate mechanics present. As I noted in Genshin, you possess the ability to dodge, whereas in Tower of Fantasy, you have the ability to perform a perfect dodge. The perfect dodge puts enemies into this state of suspended animation that allows for you to continue to hit them for multiple seconds, and your entire group can continue to hit them for a period of several seconds, dealing additional damage without having to concern yourself with their attacks, with any kind of damage from the enemy in question. Both of the worlds are completely open. There's plenty to do, plenty to explore. The world itself is occupied with other players. This is one of the areas that I feel Tower of Fantasy is going to excel in. In Genshin Impact, you can have a maximum of 3 other players occupying your world at any given time. Multiplayer functionality is very limited. This is what initially kept me from playing Genshin Impact long term. At the beginning, I was very held back by the fact that you couldn't participate in the story together, you couldn't go out and engage enemies and loot chests, and it was very limiting. It inhibited other players' progress when playing with you, and other than allowing for you to deal additional damage, provided no real benefit. Tower of Fantasy, though, is an MMO. I continue to see people come into our streams every single day and ask us, is this an MMO? And I have repeatedly taken screenshots, I've repeatedly showcased 10, 20 different people on our screen at the same time. You can see it on screen right now. I took screenshots. I am going to include footage of a bunch of different people that were out in the world, that were actively engaging in whatever content they were engaging in, that took the time to come to the town because they saw that we were streaming and group up with us and just sit there, chill, talk for a little bit. Realistically, that alone, the fact that one is a single player game with a very limiting multiplayer functionality and the other is a complete open world MMO, allowing for you to participate in literally everything other than a little bit of story content together, should be distinction enough, should be evidence to the sheer contrasting difference between the two different game types. It's like comparing Black Desert Online with The Witcher 3. Sure, they might share some aesthetic similarities, share similar action combat types, but that's where you draw the line. In Genshin Impact, you play as the Traveler. The Traveler is an already established, predetermined, pre-designed character that you have no control over. Your character in Tower Fantasy, though, you create from the ground up. While you can be a male or a female in both games, in Tower Fantasy you get to choose your hairstyle, your hair color, you can customize your facial proportions. There are a plethora of different outfits that you can earn, that you can unlock, that you can purchase. These outfits you can customize the colors of, and if that isn't enough customization for you already, I do want to note that you can furthermore customize your character, customize your outfit, customize literally everything about yourself at any point in the game. You can change your outfit immediately by just opening your character window, and then you can go ahead and customize your full character's appearance for a small amount of currency in game. Both games do have a gacha system present. Tower of Fantasies is different to a degree. In Genshin Impact, you recruit various different waifus and husbandos. Each character has their own unique playstyle, their own unique weapon style, their own unique abilities, and that is similar in Tower Fantasy. You can recruit various different characters. Each character has their own unique weapon. They have their own unique look, but instead of where in Genshin you would play as that character, in Tower Fantasy they function as weapons, meaning that you can equip the weapons without necessarily needing to play as the character in question. So as an example, you can equip a katana user, you can equip a dual sword user, you can equip a bow user. Now, you can use all three of those weapon types on your character that you created at the beginning of the game. Or you can play as any character that you have unlocked. All of this while retaining all of the weapons that you have equipped. Concerning the gacha system specifically though, in Genshin Impact, well, I mean, you guys should know how bad the gacha rates are in Genshin Impact. They're not the worst imaginable, but they are pretty terrible. In Tower Fantasy though, I have noticed that their rates are significantly better, but not just that, you actually earn the ability to do those roles, to utilize that premium currency in game. These items that you use for the roles are typically found around the world. These items, they also replenish daily, meaning that you can continue to farm this premium currency and you can continue to roll on various different weapons or characters or heroes significantly more frequently than you can in Genshin Impact. This makes it much fairer, this makes it more friendly towards free players, and this generally makes it more accessible. Now in Genshin, you could teleport around the world between various different waypoints, and while that is the same in Tower Fantasy also implemented mounts. They implemented the hover motorcycle thing, they implemented hoverboards, they implemented jetpacks. Like the hoverboard in specific allows for you to jet across the entire ocean. It's actually really cool. The mount system in this game is fluid. It looks great. It is incredibly useful. The jetpack makes it so you can literally rocket yourself up 30, 50, 100 feet, making stamina much less of a problem when it comes to scaling to areas that you wouldn't typically be able to reach. And speaking of, with regards to stamina, in Genshin, when you sprint, your stamina depletes so rapidly, but your stamina is also affected by swimming and climbing. In Tower Fantasy, your stamina, while it is affected by swimming and climbing, it does not affect your ability to sprint, which means you can literally sprint indefinitely. This is a quality of life improvement that I hope one day Genshin implements. Another thing that sets these games apart is that there is a fully integrated PvP system present in Tower Fantasy. Although Admittedly, MRSSTIX and I have only made it up to level 25 thus far, so we are slightly too low to participate in this. We will be hopefully able to unlock this tomorrow or later today on stream, since this video is being recorded it's being recorded Saturday night after we finished our stream, and is going to be posted today. Is going to be posted like an hour or two before we start today's stream. And these are just the initial differences that I have noticed over playing for the last 2 days. I'm sure over time there are going to be significantly more changes, significantly more differences between the two games that I'm not aware of currently, that I may potentially be aware of later, the more you play it. This game is very different to Genshin Impact. There is no way this is going to compete with Genshin Impact. There is no way this is going to dethrone Genshin Impact. Genshin Impact is a completely different type of game, and the only way a game is going to dethrone it is if it looks better, it plays better, it offers more, and is the same kind of game, which again, this is not. Now again, if you want to watch us stream this in real time over on Twitch, there'll be a link to that in the comment section in the description below. Hopefully this helped you more accurately discern the differences between the game, at least again in the initial introductory 10-15 hours of the game. I'm excited, MRSSTIX is excited to continue playing it, to continue to get further, and to continue to see what the game has to offer. And we hope to see you over on Twitch while we're streaming.